Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joy at Work. It's great to be with you. I hope you're doing well and I hope you're safe. Yes, I am going down memory lane wearing a 2018 2019 season champions jersey. I can reminisce. We can all have this moment of reflection on past glory. It's great to be with you, and here's a provocation. This is the provocation that one of the biggest causes or one of the biggest joy killers, if I could put it that way, is working on the wrong problem in the workplace. We've all experienced this. We've all gone through it where we felt strongly we were working on the wrong problem, or we didn't know we were working on the wrong problem. We got to the end of doing something, came up with a solution, and it didn't work. And then we realized that we were working on the wrong problem. And this happens a lot in the workplace because we confuse problems with problematic situations, to borrow from Donald Schoen. Now, a problem is pretty straightforward. Like the light bulb stops working, you just go replace the burnt out light bulb with a new light bulb. But problematic situations are messy. They have multiple variables or multiple contributing factors. They're situations that people interpret differently. They might be hard to even figure out if we're making progress, if things are moving in the right direction. Some people might describe these as wicked problems or complex problems, but regardless of how you want to think about them, candidly, a simple, straightforward solution isn't available. But we as humans, and especially people who pride themselves as experts, always believe that they have the answers to problems. In fact, what is an expert in many of our situations? It's someone who has the answers. But we fail to realize that when we confuse problems or problematic situations for problems, that we have jumped a step of actually setting the problem. We've just gone over or bypassed actually wrestling with the problematic situation, teasing it apart, and trying to really come to terms with what actually the problem or problems might be. And this is even compounded by the fact that in our organizations, everything has to be solved yesterday. So whenever a problem is raised, people are under pressure, feel really rushed to have an answer in the moment. And again, there's some things that are straightforward, like why aren't we doing X? Oh, we just need to move that over there. But when we get to some of the more challenging situations, like why isn't a team delivering more? Or why are we having back and forth with these people? Or why won't they accept this process as we have outlined it? Those are problematic situations. But when somebody comes in and refuses to engage with a problematic situation and just says, this is the problem, they've made a choice on what they think is important and what the group should focus on. And this can get it can have really negative impacts when people do this and they are wrong, as they are in many cases, because no one likes to work on something that doesn't move the cause forward. We all want to be part of things that are addressing problems, that are making things better. In fact, we derive a ton of joy from achieving uh, our outcomes, from solving real problems, from seeing things get better. And so when we find ourselves sort of on this treadmill, if you want to think about it this way, or hamster wheels, probably a better visual for this, of just doing the same thing over and over and over again and not seeing any results, which some people describe as insanity. It becomes very frustrating. You begin to wonder to yourself, why am I even here? What am I doing? And this really begins to eat at your joy. Now, you're probably listening to me and thinking about all the other people who do this, but I want you to pause for a moment and do a little bit of self reflection and think about how you respond to the problems that come before you. You pause to really think to yourself, is this a problematic situation with many aspects to it? And I need to be intentional about setting the problem and figuring out what I'm going to go after? Or do you just jump in with a solution because you think you'll have figured it out? If you're honest with yourself, it's more likely that you just rush in, like you rush into a burning building, trying to bring people out without thinking and assessing and making an appraisal of the situation that's going on. So what's this really about? If you want to experience more joy at work, you need to just be intentional about dealing with problematic situations. Leaders, you want to see situations as problematic and get the right group to address it and be intentional about problem setting. And as an individual, when problems come across your desk, when somebody asks you to solve something, pause to analyze it, think about it. Am I dealing with a straightforward problem here for which there's a known solution or answer, or do I have a problematic situation and I really need to pause and do I need to really set the problem. Choose from a kindly, probably a list of options that we have. Anyway, that's some thoughts on how we can increase our joy at work by really thinking about our problem solving approach. Hopefully is useful. Maybe I'll talk about some techniques in an upcoming video, but just thought about it today and thought I should share. All right. Thanks to everyone who subscribed. Don't forget, if you find this valuable, share with somebody else. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a vlog. See you next time. Bye.